Hello everyone and welcome back to Sudden Wealth. I hope you guys are doing very well. If you do enjoy the content, please consider dropping that like and subscribe. So I continued my recovery. Today I'm a bit better than the previous days, and I think probably by the end of the week I'll be back at 100%. Let's hope so. Quick update: markets are not moving that much. Yesterday was a very good day. TLT is a little bit below 90, but not too far off. We're trying to break through the 50 daily or 50 weekly moving average. We hit our heads over there and had to come back to retest it. Same thing with we're about to get a dead cross in the dollar, which is good. The dollar tried to go above the EMA 20 and failed. So these are things that we want to see and basically are seeing. Funny thing, Tampon Tim was celebrating, was saying something to the nature of, when I have this app to check stocks, and I like to start the day by checking how much Tesla stock is coming down, which is quite stupid, taking into account that I believe that his state pension has like 3.5% allocation to Tesla. That so holdings of his constituents are directly linked to the performance of Tesla. So that's the stupidity. And of course, you have a guy like that talking and celebrating. And basically, since he ever made that comment, Tesla is up something like 20+%. Literally, he said that at the bottom. So this is what happens when you talk about things that you don't know, you usually make an ass of yourself. And then he was trying to be tough, saying, about a wrestling match. And obviously, Glenn Jacobs, Kane, from the WWE, is a mayor, right? So he challenged him, sure, let's have a wrestling match. And of course, as you can imagine, the very manly Tampon Tim has basically kept quiet and pretended he didn't see anything. So this is where we are today. It's just funny to see. On a separate note, I saw Bill Maher talking about something that I've discussed here before, which is Oregon, Rhode Island, Illinois, New York, California, and I think there may be another state or not, maybe I forgot. All blue states are losing electoral college votes. I don't think 2028 yet, but for sure by 2032. Who's getting them? Florida, Texas, Idaho, Utah, very deep red states. Yes, people have been fleeing blue states to go to red states. So that should tell you, if they're doing such a botched up job in their own states, why would they do a great job at the national state, at the federal state? They don't. Yes, Bill Maher, the answer is way simpler than what you think. So keep that in mind. That means I think the total, I think California will lose 3 votes, New York will lose 2, and then the other states will lose 1 each. I think in total, I think they will lose like 10 votes to very deep red states. That's losing, that's like permanently losing Wisconsin. It's the same level of distraction, let's say. Yeah, but this happens if, and I think, by the way, California and New York lost more than $1 trillion each in assets to the other states. And one of the things that has not been talked about, because in the great scheme of politics is not so interesting, is illegal immigration is down to almost nothing anymore, with no single law passed, nothing, just different president. So I think that the stronghold, particularly in the states close to the border, that the Republicans have will increase, because to them that point is extremely important. So very keen to see what's going to happen. Then a little bit more macro news as well. The UAE pledged to invest $1.4 trillion in the US over the next 10 years. So that's $140 billion per year. The Saudis are showing interest in investing $600 billion over the next 4 years. Then you have companies like Hyundai, Schneider, and a few others basically developing 20 billion plus manufacturing sites in the US to not only avoid tariffs, but also because the conditions for investment are positive. All of these things are positive for the US. Apple investing $500 billion over the next 10 years, over the next 10 or 20 years in US soil. So I think it's going to be quite interesting to see how things develop over the next few years. I would say for the rest of the regions in the planet to pay attention, because if what I think is going to happen happens, if the US and Canada really team up, I know that what I'm saying sounds incredibly impossible. Oh, the 51st state, oh, the tariff wars, all of this. I am still of the opinion that if those two, I think the ultimate goal will be to really unite US and Canada. And if you have the financial and innovation power of the US plus the unlimited resources of Canada, that's a very strong powerhouse. And if you do something with Mexico as well, for the youth and cheap labor, and basically then you have full control of the border. I think those things can be very, very interesting. To be seen. I think the world is changing. It's changing fast, and it's going to be very good to see. There was someone that asked me what I thought was going to happen in the peace agreement in Europe. What I think is going to end up happening, I think Ukraine will lose territories because every war that I've seen, the winner takes land. So I don't see why this would be any different. I think at the end of everything, the US and Ukraine will have a mineral deal, and the US and Russia will have a mineral deal as well. And the US will get repaid, and well paid. So not just repaid, but also will make a lot of money after everything is done. And unfortunately, I think other countries, mainly the Europeans, will be watching and trying to figure out what happened to them. That's my feeling. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe this war lasts 20 years. Maybe, who knows? But that's my feeling. We'll see what happens. As we've discussed, we've discussed this ad nauseum, but let's go again. Q4 last year, financial conditions tightened massively. Where did you see that? Bond yields spiked, dollar spiked. These things, we saw the effect of them recently, and all of these things unwounded. So basically went the opposite way, the good way, in January and February, which means we should be starting to see those impacts March and April. The price of eggs, which is one of the main things driving inflation in the US, is down 63%. It's a massive collapse, which is good. Gas costs are to all 4-year lows, and shelter in many regions of the US is starting to also come down, which means I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing good inflation reports despite everybody expecting massive inflation from the tariffs. Regarding tariffs, April 2nd is going to be a very volatile day. I think the days going into that day in particular and the days after have the potential to be quite volatile. I think, as I've said before, the tariffs are getting more and more priced in. That doesn't mean we have zero volatility. It means that the swings of plus 5%, minus 5%, or plus 10 and minus 10 in crypto in particular, I think will become less and less regular for us to witness. When it comes to the crypto market, we should start seeing then Bitcoin playing catch up with our global M2. A lot of damage was done, so people need to get comfortable again. 91K is a big resistance area, but above it can go quite quick. Ethereum had is been having 2 green weeks in a row. My God, which feels like a dream. And it's holding a little bit strong. Let's hope it can really start to muster that recovery. As I've said before, there are the equivalent of 2 Bybit hacks at Ethereum, not the equivalent, but close. Almost two Bybit hacks of short positions at Ethereum $3,000, which means if we go above $3,000 and those shorts start to get covered and get covered quickly, you can have a massive rally that can really blow people's minds off. And I'm very curious to see if that's going to happen. How will they get away from it? Will they start closing after 2,300? I mean, who knows? That we need to wait and see. There's conversations about the cycle extending to 2026, meaning first quarter, for example, of 2026. Is that possible? Of course. The same way that the previous cycle ended early, in 2021, this cycle can end later. Everybody was super focused on the left translated cycle. Didn't happen. Then they were saying a normal cycle can be the case. And then they said, and nobody was expecting a lengthier cycle. So maybe that's what we're gonna get. Who knows? We're gonna have some good clues over time. Business ISM to be above 55 or something. Liquidity peaking, global M2 peaking, etc. So that will tell us. And actually, I went on Twitter and I checked this just for you to have an idea. Back in November, global M2 was coming down rapidly because of the strong dollar and the higher yields. And there was a few people on Twitter, I have to say, that were saying, "Hey guys, global M2 is coming down. I think we're gonna have over the next couple of months, we're gonna have." This was like early December. Over the next couple of months. What they say? Over the next, so not January necessarily, but February and March, we should be having at least 20-25% correction. We had at the worst 30. But what I'm saying is to go back in time, to remember the entire bullishness, the pumps, the craziness, and to have people saying, "Hey guys, this can happen." And basically, if you look at the comments in those posts is nothing but destruction and negative about how stupid that person is and all the reasons why that could never happen. And then fast forward 2 months and there we were. Was actually quite interesting to see, I have to say. So global M2 ends up leading it and showing us the path. The issue is that when global M2 is going up, but the sentiment is so poor and negative, and the candles are so red, we cannot see how is it possible that global M2 will play and then Bitcoin will play catch up so quick. It makes no sense. So we don't believe it. When the market is very, very high, and we see global M2 coming down, and we know what that means, but the bullish environment is so strong, the bullish reasons, the things on the background are so strong, we cannot visibly understand or comprehend how can this be going down. It's not possible. We have Trump, we have this, we have the other, and one way or another, here we go and follow that. Just remember all those people that told you that we were in the bear market and think, or they say, 50% bear markets or all this kind of nonsense. Just remember those as we move forward. Can we have red candle days? Yes. Weeks? Yes. That is still on the table. Expect some strong volatility, particularly next week. I get the feeling things will resolve for the most part better than people expect. Why do I think better than most people expect? Because people expect so much negative, and the crowd is so convinced that it's going to be negative that it forces me to believe that the crowd will not be right. And no, everybody didn't get it right. And maybe the minority got it right. And with that, Thank you very much for your support, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll catch you in the next one.